One of the skills every student must have while trying to solve trigonometry equations is the ability to convert the entirety of the equation to just one trigonometric function. So for instance, we have this particular question right here. We have 3 cos squared theta minus sine squared theta. Now let's take for instance that we have maybe this written as in an equation form. For instance, let's say we have 3 cos squared theta minus sine squared theta equals to 0, for instance. Now this is an equation, and if we're told to solve this, so one of the skills you have to have in order for you to be able to solve this is that you must be able to know how to change all of these trig functions to just one particular trig function. So now we have cos squared theta, we have sine squared theta being represented. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to be able to solve this question. So what you have to do in order for you to be able to solve it is to translate either this or this to just representing one trig function. What I mean by this is that you can decide to change cos squared theta now in a form that it will bring out sine squared theta. So you will no longer have cos theta in this equation. All you'll be having is sine theta. Or you can decide to change sine theta to cos theta, and then you will no longer have sine theta. All you will be having is cos theta. So this particular question we have here will teach you the skill that you need in order for you to be able to solve this type of questions. So the question is telling us to express 3 cos squared theta minus sine squared theta in terms of, the very first question there said, in terms of cos squared theta. Now, what you must know in order to solve this question is your trig identities. So I gave you in a particular video all the trig identities, the basic trig identities. So you have to be able to remember them and know how to use them for questions like this. Looking at this question now, I have 3 cos squared theta minus sine squared theta. Now, I want to express this just having cos squared theta alone. That means this is still okay because I can see this is cos squared theta, but this is sine squared theta. I don't want to see sine squared theta. I want to just be seeing everything must only have cos squared theta. Though that means the only trig function permitted is only cos squared theta. So what I have to do is to go back to my trig identity, and if you can recollect, there's a trig identity that told us that sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equals to 1. So from here, this is where my solution will come from. So I can decide to, because I can see now that sine squared theta, I can get a formula for sine squared theta from here that would have only cos squared theta. So from here, you can see sine squared theta. If I decide to make sine squared theta the subject of formula from this particular identity, this will be 1 minus cos squared theta. So now I can decide to fix this particular equation into wherever I see sine squared theta in the question we are given. So wherever I see sine squared theta, now I want to be fixing this in. Don't forget, this is a trig identity. This was not something we just brought from nowhere. It's one of the trig identities. So what we have here, we have 3 cos squared theta minus, I will no longer be writing sine squared theta. I would now be writing 1 minus cos squared theta. Don't forget the use of your bracket is very important in questions like this. Always learn to use your bracket very well. So from here, I have 3 cos squared theta minus 1, then plus cos squared theta. If I decide to simplify this, I can see this is 3 cos squared theta. This is just 1 cos squared theta. So 3 cos squared theta plus 1 cos squared theta will give me 4 cos squared theta minus 1, which will be my final answer. So this is my final answer right here. You can see that I've been able to express 3 cos squared theta minus sine squared theta to only have cos squared theta. This is the final answer for question number 1. So let's try and solve question number 2 very quickly. In this case, we are told to express it in terms of only sine squared theta. So to solve this just for sine squared theta alone, we are still going to be using the self-same identity, the basic identity of sine squared theta plus cos squared theta equals to 1. because this is still the same identity that will be able to help me to convert my cos square theta to having just sine square theta. So now in this particular question number 2, I'm interested in expressing this whole thing just to have sine square theta alone. So this sine square theta is okay here. It's the cos square theta I want to find a way to express, to change. So looking at my identity, I know that for me to find cos square theta, I can say that cos square theta will be equals to 1 minus sine square theta. So obviously I can go on to fix this wherever I see cos square theta. So looking at this, I go on to have 3, no longer cos square theta now. I'm fixing, don't forget to use your bracket, 1 minus sine square theta minus sine square theta. So what we have here is 3 times 1 minus 3 times sine square theta minus sine square theta. And this is minus 3 sine square theta minus sine square theta. This is 3 minus 4 sine square theta. So this brings me to my final answer. You can see that in this particular expression now, we don't have cos square theta at all. All we are having is sine square theta. So let me just quickly give you a little hint on this sine square theta being written. I want you to understand that sine square theta, this is just on a sideline. Sine square theta is not the same thing as sine theta all square. Sine square theta is not the same thing as sine theta all square. What sine square theta is? Sine square theta is actually sine theta everything all square. So the application of this is, for instance, when you say sine 25 square, or let me say sine 5 square. So sine 5 square, sine 5 all square is obviously not the same thing as sine 5 square, because in this case this will be sine 25. Sine 25, if you raise out on your calculator, will not give you what sine 5. Then when you get an answer, then square it will give you. So you need to understand the difference between sine square theta and sine theta square. So I just thought to bring that to you so you don't make confusions around. You need to understand what exactly sine square theta actually means. Sine square theta is sine theta everything all square. So I want you to make an attempt of these 2 questions. The first one, you're supposed to make sec square theta minus 2 tan theta expressed in terms of just tan theta alone. And then the second one, you are supposed to express 2 cos square theta minus 1 plus sine theta in terms of sine theta alone. So let me see your answer in the comment section. I really hope you're able to do it. All right, guys, thank you for joining. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.